Hello, hello. Welcome to the lunch zone. I'm Eric Kirsting. I'm your host. Woo. Yeah, and so let me explain a little bit about who I am and what we're doing. So this is the Lunch Zone. It is a show dedicated to playing games and talking about them and exploring concepts in streaming and things like that. It airs every Wednesday from 12 to 1, and we have a whole variety of different people who host. We have a great time doing it. So I'll be playing the game today, and we're hosting it from my office here. You can see my closet behind me and my backpack or whatever. And so today we're going to be playing the game Factorio. And so what is Factorio? That's a great question. So as you might be able to tell from this image that we're being currently inundated with, Factorio is a game that's based around building factories. It's kind of like a little bit of a simulation game. It's a little bit of like a Minecraft kind of build your own thing kind of game where there's like kind of threats in the world, and it's a lot of it. It's like kind of a puzzle. It's like kind of a logical puzzle of like trying to solve various problems that you face, but always with kind of a bent towards automation. And I would say this is kind of why I wanted to play Factorio today, because I think it leans into a lot of interesting discussions we can have about automation and how automation is represented in games. Because to some degree, all games are automated, but this is a unique game in a sense that it really puts at the forefront automation and forces the player to be complicit in the automation that occurs. And so I'm excited to talk about it with you guys. Good to see you guys in chat and everything. I'm gonna go ahead and close that out. All right, so I got the chat up. I got that up. I'm just gonna double check that I am live just to make sure. I'll put that on my other screen. All right, I see live. I see Factorio. All right, and let me just double check. All right, cool. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm just gonna start a new game and kind of start talking through what it looks like to play a game of Factorio. So you can play a lot of different modes. You can play like the tutorial, you can play free play, and there's like they have a bunch of different game scenarios where you kind of have to build or you're trying to like solve kind of like a puzzle or a particular kind of thing. But we're just gonna go into free play today, and we're gonna kind of be kind of seeing what that looks like. Let's go ahead and click next. So here we can it's kind of like Civ or Age of Empires. Hey, Doc Strangest. Thanks for joining us today.
I'm glad to be here. I'm on voice too.
Okay, awesome. Cool. How you doing?
Doing all right, although I had an ad when I opened up the stream. I haven't seen an ad on Twitch in forever. That was weird.
Do you have like an ad blocker or something like that?
I thought I had an account where I didn't have to view ads, but who knows? Maybe we've just been lucky. Maybe the stream has gotten so big that ads are more of a thing.
I think at least on the YouTube channel, I have it set to it's like demonetized, like there's no ads before anything. But I'll double check with the Twitch channel to see if that's the case. Yeah, so today we're playing this game Factorio. Have you had any experience with this game?
None at all. It certainly reminds me of Sims, back in the day, the isometric view and everything.
Yeah, I'd say like Sims and in general the simulation genre is part of what this game is definitely going for. It's kind of it's a pretty. I haven't played too much of it. I probably played like 10 hours. And it's a game where I think people sink in like hundreds of hours based on at least what I've seen from like community posts and things like that.
It's easy to do, and I guess I should have said Sim City rather than Sims, But yeah, I once flew from Chicago to Greece, and with a brand new ThinkPad. This is like 25 years ago, and I started a city as soon as I could access my laptop. And when I landed in Greece, I was practically at the end of the game. It's just one of those things where you could just pour so many hours. And I lost total track of time. It all happened. It felt like it was the shortest flight I ever took.
Yeah, I've had that experience too, where you just get hooked, especially at like this kind of like a Microsoft Flight Simulator, or like simulation games seem to be really good at like evoking that kind of mindset or like kind of play where it's just like everything else fades into the background.
Right. And that collapsing of time and everything. Yeah.
But yeah. So the unique thing about Factorio is that it is a simulation game, but it's also kind of a puzzle game in the sense that like you're building a factory and like the specifics of the factory matter. Like you're building the conveyor belts, you're building the arms that are like picking things up and moving them to different places and things like that. And so and you're collecting like the resources and stuff. So it's like it's kind of got both. It's like kind of both that like kind of like SimCity like that kind of laying out your buildings and your constructions and kind of and stuff like that, but it's also got kind of more of the like the puzzle game kind of aspect, because it's like you're not like in SimCity, right? You don't have to worry about the donut shop's donuts, right? But in this you do have to worry about the specifics in that way.
That's cool.
So I'll go ahead and I'll hit play and we'll get going. So I'm just playing the default world with all the default settings. I almost want to put on peaceful mode, but we'll just let there are enemies in this game, and they can kill you. So here we see we got this busted spaceship. We've kind of crash landed. I think the general plot is that you crash landed on a planet, and now you've got to like build a factory to get out. It gives us all these tips and tricks and stuff, but hopefully I remember most of this. So I'm gonna go tab out of that. What have I started with? So they gave me a mining drill, a stone furnace, and one piece of wood. That's all they started me off with. And meanwhile, we see that our ship is, our spaceship did have some bullets in it, so I guess we'll grab those.
So you could string together a series of games. You play FTL. And then you play this, and then you play something, right? So FTL is your spaceship, but then you crashed, and then you have to play this game. Yeah,
I like that. It's kind of like that, kind of just creating that overarching narrative of all these different games and experiences.
When did this game come out?
I think it's been in development for quite a few years. I think it was in beta for since probably 2015, 2016 maybe. And then, but it just was released, I think, this year in like the 1.0 version.
Hey, Kelly. Glad to see you.
Hey, Kelly. So this is what I was really looking for was some coal, because coal is like, especially in the early game, it is perhaps the most important resource, because you need things to power all your machines. So I'm gonna chop down some trees to create a wooden box. That way the wood or the coal that this mining drill that I've made, we'll just put the coal in a box for now. Eventually we'll get really fancy and we'll have all these conveyor belts. Yeah. I would say Kelly is noting the don't starve vibes. I would say that there definitely is kind of a don't starve kind of vibe to this.
Is there I know Minecraft is played in dozens of ways, but one of the ways that my son loved to play it was this kind of complicated resource management thing of building conveyor belts and all kinds of stuff. There's an upscale that kind of Minecraft quality to this.
Definitely. I would say I would gather to inject. I don't know. I would argue that probably the creators of this game probably saw some of the success of Minecraft and that style of play, and hoped that to attract the crowd, right, who enjoyed that style of Minecraft by giving them a more robust set of that kind of tool. Yeah.
Boy, the graphics and the sort of visual language of it and the isometric is now reminding me a lot of Pillars of Eternity, which I played lately.
Oh yeah, that's a good game.
It's dark, but it's good.
Yeah. That's kind of like a little bit of a grittier kind of approach.
Yeah, grittier Baldur's Gate kind of. Yeah, it looks just like a little Pillars of Eternity. I wouldn't be surprised if someone told me, "Oh, it's the same engine" or something. But probably not.
The game really streamlines that kind of colonial industrial kind of oh wait. That's what I wanted to do. Wait, no, okay. No, I wanted to build a burner drill. Sorry. I was playing the game and trying to talk at the same time. But it kind of foregrounds that kind of colonial, like, industrial kind of thing right away. Because, like, right away, you're like, it is so inefficient for you to try to mine, like, the coal.
Oh, there we go.
You know?
Yeah.
It like, you would need to create, like, machines to do the labor for you. And so it's kind of like, I think one of the neat things about this game, at least the things that I like, is that, like, anything you can do by yourself, like that your character can do, you don't want your character to do. Like, this is really a game about automation, right? Like, in automating tasks, like in figuring out how to do that automation. And hi, Ati. So here, I want to build a second drilling mine, which means I need 3 iron plate, 3 iron gears, and a stone furnace to make. Now, we've got the stone furnace, so I guess we're going to go ahead and we'll start mining some iron.
Did you make that light that you're using?
No, I think the game fortunately gave us that at least. So we're having that make us iron plate, and I think we can use the iron plate to make the iron gears. But for now, since we don't have that drill, we just have to manually mine all this iron ore. How 17th century?
I could picture someone someday writing an entire book about the kind of visual grammar of productivity in video games. A little fire and little puffs of smoke, and then how it just goes dark when it's done, right? I mean, it's so interesting to think about all the different ways that video games represent that something is doing work for us.
Yeah, that is, yeah. And it's like, really, I think it's changed a lot over time too. I think early games didn't even have a conception of that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I think, go ahead.
How much of it is like, you know, the way computers didn't have initially, but then developed things like the loading screen, right? The installation bar, right? The buffer bar, right? Is this just simply there because those things exist too, you know? Something to reassure you that this, you know, otherwise kind of black boxy binary computing thing in front of you is actually doing what you asked it to do.
All right, so we now have 2 burner drills set up, or burner mining drills, where Ati notes the connection to Minecraft as well, by the way.
Yeah, we were chatting about that before.
But we have two mining drills, and we have our first, I would say, quote unquote, problem, which is that iron ore is not particularly useful by itself. It needs to be put in a furnace. So I think what I'll do is I'm gonna take this furnace and I'm gonna put it right here into where the whatchamacallit, there we go, where the burner drill outlets, and that way the burner drill is just going to automatically place the iron ore into the furnace and turn it into iron plates, which are the actual units thing. So we've got our first moment of automation, right, where we're not the ones taking. So, like, you know, it's like this is that early moment in 2001: A Space Odyssey, where
yeah, da, 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 you need the swell of the music and everything at this time.
Let's see.
So it literally, when it was doing work by itself, you know, when you were retrieving things, was it kind of spitting it out onto the ground and you had to pick it up from the direction that it puts it out, or is it just the fact that it's connected that it will automatically throw it in the toward that thing?
It's because like it has this arrow. I don't know how well you can see it, but there's like this arrow here that shows which direction where it'll shoot it out, and if there's an object that takes over that square, it'll put it in that object.
Right.
If that object is like a holder, just like here we
Right.
see the arrow goes into this box.
I see it. Yeah, that's hard for me to see, but oh, there we go. Okay, yeah.
But I'm gonna do another automation here once. Oh, I need more stone. Shoot. Hold on. Make another stone furnace. So the game doesn't have, one of the things I like about this game is it doesn't have like a really robust, it's like Minecraft in this way, for AT. It doesn't have like a ton of resources. From my understanding, there's wood, which is like really obsolete very quickly. Like you really don't need wood. Coal, iron, stone, and copper. Like those are the only ores. Like those are like that you use pretty much across the entire game. And then you sometimes will use water as a resource as well. Like, you know, for like making steam and things of that nature. But the game does like purposely like makes everything flow out from like a very simple elements, right? Like you can, you know, like it's a little unrealistic, but you know, you can make your, you know, electronic circuits with just copper and iron, right? Which is maybe not exactly how it works in the real world, but it's perhaps better for a game. So I've got all right. Now we've got we got a thing that's mining the stone ore, or just the stone. I think it might just be called stone. Why would we call it stone ore? Yeah, just stone. We got a thing that's mining iron. And we got a thing that's mining coal. So we're getting there. We are, but one of the problems is that this thing that mines the coal is going to run out of coal, so we have to keep putting coal into it. So what I want to do is I want to build another mining drill that will just put coal into the thing that makes the coal. So you know what I mean? So I have to do that less, right? Because in theory, one piece of coal will mine a lot more than one piece of coal, if that makes sense. Sorry, that doesn't make sense. Giving one piece of coal to the thing that mines the coal mines a lot more than one piece of coal. That's what I'm trying to say.
There you go. Yeah. I don't recall that we played Raft around the channel. That would be great. I think you should stream it.
And even if we have streamed it once, I mean, it's not like there's probably so much more, you know, conversation that we could have. All right, now we've got the drill that feeds the other drill. And if we really want, what we you know, you can start to get really complex and build a whole automation where that drill like feeds itself coal or something like that. And then you don't have to worry about it until it runs out of coal. And that's the crux, right, of like making the game advance, is that you don't have like unlimited resources in any given pile, right? You know, you use this factory until it runs out. But then you're gonna have to go out and find more resources somewhere else.
See, that answers a question I was just about to ask. You know, there's a at the time pretty well-known Terra Nova post that Liz Lawley did, wonderful Professor Liz Lawley from our RIT, and I think it was called A Beautiful Grind, and it was in this time when World of Warcraft had really hit big and people were lamenting the grind that you had to do, and the faction grinding and the skill grinding and this other just grinding for levels. And but she actually went the other way and wrote this post where she was kind of praising the grind. But by that she meant specifically, you know, grinding mobs in World of Warcraft, where you just go into this kind of flow-like state because you're just, you know, farming all these panthers in the jungle of wherever that jungle is in World of Warcraft. And the thing about it is, you know, it's the argument that she suggests is that it's engaging because it really is a well-designed, proper mix of routine and surprise, right? Because you know you have your routine, maybe but the mobs are popping up, not always in the same places. It's not always set to a set pattern, so it doesn't become completely boring and completely tedious. And there's other wandering monsters that might come through. You know, if you're grinding in an area where these dangerous, high-level elite, monsters like T-Rexes or wherever come through. But you get my point, right? Like, it was this work that is very procedural, as I use that word, meaning like very kind of step 1, step 2, steps 3, and all the rest. But there was some engaging. There was just enough of this kind of engaging uncertainty that it wasn't utterly tedious to do it. So I was going to ask you, where is the contingency in this game? And it sounds like at least one of the places that you would identify it is in the fact that you don't know where the resources are, and when you find them, there's an uncertain amount of resources available. Is that right?
Yeah, there's an so like, here we have like the pile of ore, and if any given like grid or square of this ore, right, has a certain amount. So like here we see 1473, 1598. It's like on the right. It's very small text. I don't expect you to read it, but you can hover over and see that. So that is one.
That's for the whole area.
Yeah, for that particular square that you're hovering.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, I see.
And I'm zoomed out really far here, but also like the game has randomly generated maps. So here, the fact that my copper ore, like the nearest copper ore to my main, the other things that I have mining is really far, that creates a contingency, right? I can't create a factory, like the same factory every time I play the game. If I restart and they're in different locations, I maybe am accomplishing similar ideas, but the way I get there is can be very different.
So talk us through what your threshold is now, a potential threshold of failure that you might come up against now.
So I would say there's two main ones right now, which is there's the self-imposed like limitations, or self-imposed, maybe the individual restricting limitations, which are moving around, putting like things down, trying to like make the factory work in a way. It's a puzzle, so you can fail, right? Like if I want to make like my last run, I tried to make like a factory that made solar panels, right? And I finished it, and in the end, after all of this work, a solar panel was made, and I had no input, right? At the end, like I didn't have to do anything. I just watched all the resources funnel into the factory and become a solar panel in the end.
Right.
So, but you could fail. You could not do that well, and then like a lot of the fail states of the game are like, shoot, this isn't working. I have to redo something or rethink like some aspect of this. Or space is a huge contingent factor. Is like, I don't have enough space for this, to fit like this kind of thing. So I need to, build out or conveyor belt it out to it, like outsource it almost like a different part of a new factory, right, to get that done, because I can't do it in this space. And then there are enemies, kind of like Zerg in StarCraft, if you're familiar with that game, that just live on this planet, and they are attracted to the pollution you create.
Yeah, right.
And so you have to build defenses for your factory. Otherwise, they'll come in and just destroy everything.
Yeah, enemies are often the most convenient. The enemies constructed like that are the most convenient and maybe ultimately flat, lack of imagination part of a lot of these games, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just going to invent an alien race, and they're attracted to what you're doing because they want the wealth. No, it's because they hate the pollution, or they want the pollution, but either way, they're just going to swarm you, and they cannot be reasoned with. They're mindless. So.
So here, I'm going to go ahead and create some stuff so I can start harvesting this copper. And in the early days of our copper harvesting, it's going to be a little sad because we don't have much. We don't have any way to really connect these things, so we're going to have to
Do things by hand.
Yeah, do things by hand, like walking back and forth between
Yeah.
these places. But my goal will be to build a conveyor belt to just kind of send all the copper up towards us once it's been properly refined.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what we'll do now. What do I need to build conveyor belts? That's important. I just need iron plates and iron gears, and I have tons of iron now because it's funny, the whole time we've been talking, like my machines just keep working, right? They just keep making more iron. So it's fun that this is a good game to stream in part because you can just, if you're not playing, the game is still playing. And there's often not a lot of immediate like, oh no, I have to solve X, Y, and Z problem right this second.
Yeah, there's it's partly that colonial quality to these games, right? Like, the modern Robinson Crusoe kind of hero gets to set things up in order to recapture leisure. All they need is their ingenuity, and their willingness to put the sort of pure Protestant, the kind of Protestant ethic work in on the front side, We are working on a better capitalism.
That's funny. So, one of the things you guys are probably seeing me do right now is that I'm having to manually make like things like conveyor belts or inserters. Inserters are very useful. What they will do is like they'll grab from one thing and place whatever it grabbed onto another thing. So you can see I can use them they will place onto the conveyor belt these copper plates, which I'm now having them. I'm kind of having the conveyor belt slowly but surely kind of move up to the rest of the factory, but that will take a little while. We're really struggling for coal right now, so I'm actually gonna go ahead and make more mining drills to just mine more coal. And typically,
you are burning the midnight oil to do all this too.
Your character needs no sleep. They are the true they're in many senses an unencumbered individual.
Right, right. That's the other thing we could talk about with this game.
No
right?
sleep, no food.
Yeah. The Robinson Crusoe thing is huge. Yeah, Age of Empires. Yeah, you can see that. No. A T though. No, we aren't labor. We aren't labor. We are the capitalist. We are the entrepreneur. We have to do some labor at the start, right? But our brilliance and our ingenuity is that we own these means of production. Apparently, we own the land. Although
we crash landed here. It's ours now.
That's the colonial part. We took the land. Recap the Crusoe thing. Well, I just mentioned that several times because of the Robinson Crusoe story. Is he's kind of shipwrecked, and it's emblematic of a kind of modern, capable individual who does all of this stuff kind of on their own. They recreate society just from their own reason and their own effort. Swiss Family Robinson is a kind of Disneyfied version of a similar set of ideas.
Yeah, Janelle, I think this is a game. I think we had a conversation like a couple months ago where I recommended some games that discuss kind of global warming and like climate change, and this is definitely one where pollution and climate change and colonialism are very much undercurrents that you might be interested in researching further. It definitely also gives an idealized version of the factory, but go ahead.
I was just going to ask, do you think that the game designers that have anything like a considered take on some of these implications about pollution and extraction and all the rest. Co-opting or whatever it is, claiming the territory, etc.
I'm honestly like kind of unsure, because it seems like they must have some forethought in like that realm, because they did make a game where like it is like like whether or not we we find like a compelling whether or not we find it a compelling like narrative reason for the creatures to come attack us. They are attacking us because we're polluting, right? Like because we're changing the landscape, right? It is, in a sense, it is nature attempting to like reclaim the factory, in a very basic sense. So if they included, they could have had just, there are creatures that attack, right? They're like the Zerg. They just proliferate out. If they find your factory, they attack. But instead they had them be specifically, this, which is, interesting in and of itself.
But if you play the game well, and maybe with a little bit of luck, you can always fend them off.
Yeah, typically, at least in my experiences playing this game, it's kind of like, it's a very simple, like, set up some turrets, and you're good to go kind of thing. The copper side of my factory is severely lacking in coal, precisely because, as we might expect, it's very far away from the coal. Let's see. So one thing that we're going to want to get eventually is electricity. And in the early game, the only way to get electricity is to let me finish the thought. The only way to get electricity is to convert steam into like stuff. So we're gonna have to create electricity way down at this lake that's really far away from. Well, there's one next to our Crashland site, like a small little pond. So I guess I'll use that to convert the steam. But now that we have a bunch of copper plate, I think we can make the things that we need, which are the steam engine, the boiler, and the offshore pump. So our character is queued up. You guys actually can't see that because it's behind where I am on the screen, but there's a little thing that shows your character doesn't instantly make items like our refined goods, right? Like a circuitry or something. They actually have to take a certain amount of time, which is really quick. They're a very efficient worker. They really are an Ubermensch in some ways. It's like, oh, a circuit that'll take me 2 seconds to complete. But the problem is if you're making like 30 circuits, that adds up, right? So you need to create machines that will make those things for you. But Janelle asks, the imperative is to build endlessly as a guided production of specific purpose. The narrative purpose, or the narrative goal of the game, is that to get you off of this planet. Like, you've crash landed here, you evidently know how to make a spaceship, but it's very difficult, right? To make a spaceship without any automation is like impossible, right? Requires a ton of people, right? And you're only one person. So the only way you're going to make that spaceship to leave is via like automating all this stuff. So we're like starting out just trying to like do basics, like make electricity happen, mine ore, turn that ore into, a refined material. But eventually, in theory, there's like a tech tree, which I can actually pull up here. And like the tech tree, eventually, we can get to different fields, such as, there's landmines. That's great. But like, and they keep going down further and further. There's just tons of different stuff. You can make, I guess, atomic bombs. Wow. A lot of this is really violent, than what I'm looking at right now. But a lot of it is not. A lot of it's like improving productivity and, like fluid handling, right? You're going to need to be able to have that in order to advance electronics, all sorts of different things. Like you're like kind of going down the tech tree and creating more possibilities for yourself.
So if the goal is to escape the planet by developing all this stuff and building stuff, it seems like that may be the narrative goal, but so much of what the game expresses is this heroic modern individual who has all of this stuff in their head and all of this ability and knowledge in their head to just do this without anyone else, without any sense of the history of where these things came from. They're just it's purely sort of techno engineering. It's like a recapitulation of Marx's idea about the development of technology, and that's to carry that with you as an individual means you are never lost. You are never sort of abandoned or unable to sort of solve your problems.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, definitely. I think it's fairly safe to say that this game really wears on its sleeve Western ideals of the individual.
Yeah. And you can see how that kind of that techno mastery is so compelling, right? It's just so satisfying to see this progress, to see that, okay, yeah, now I'm doing this, and now I can do this, and look at everything that these things did for me, and now I can go higher and faster and stronger and everything.
Ati says that Oligarchy is a good game that kind of tells oil industry. If you're interested in seeing aspects of politics, global, local tension, climate change, and war, etc., I played as a teenager. It was fun. I think it's a board game. It's Oligarchy. Oh, I know. Is that like a Flash game, Ati? I think I have played that game. Like there was like a movement to some degree, I think. Oh god, it's already wait. I don't think I want to do this yet. I put in the thing to to power the Steam engine, and then I realized like I've got no electricity currently, so it's like very much not useful to have it burning the coal right now until I've actually got something electrical that I want to power. So yeah, a big part of this game that we haven't yet talked about are the labs, like which are like the tech trees. So what the labs do is they let you your character doesn't know everything right away, right? They have to use the lab to research it. The lab, like everything else in the game, is automated, right? It's like an automated research facility, and so you have to build these structures that's purpose is just to learn for you, kind of.
See, I hope I'm not sounding like a broken record, but isn't it interesting? It's a lab, not a library, right? Again, utter self-sufficiency. Through the lab you will find the new knowledge you need, not library or the ship's data banks or something like that. Either way, mechanically, in terms of game mechanics, it's just a tax on your time, right? It just slows you up, right? But in terms of the narrative, it's this one individual with a lab, they can discover how to make an atomic bomb, or a landmine or whatever it would be.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I totally agree that the presentation of human experience knowledge, the dissemination of such knowledge and use of it here is very much along those kind of lines that you're describing.
I like seeing the things queued up now in the lower left. Thanks for uncovering that. That's very interesting. Janelle has a question, it looks like.
So maybe it's a general question. What's the point of building on this? You crash land here and will be the only person here. Is this all for you? Are there others that run these things? Is everything so everything's automated, or everything you attempt to do is like a game of building automation? And I think I said this, but the nominal goal is to get off of the planet, right? To build a new spaceship and leave, because you've crash landed here, and so I guess that's the point. Outside of the broader, that's the narrative point, but I think the for me at least, why I like this game, because I think it is very fun, is the point is that it's just fun to build a thing and to have a goal, right? And to be okay, my goal is to build a factory that does X, Y, or Z. How do I get from wanting to build a factory like that to having a factory that does that, right? And it's kind of solving that puzzle.
What are these little dome things that you created here? Are these greenhouses or something?
Those are the labs.
Oh, those are the labs. Oh, I see.
And I'm kind of confused why it won't. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So what I can do is then I built 3 just because I had the resources to. So kind of like just getting ready for later on in the game when I will later on in the game when I will actually be able to use 3 labs at once. But so now that we have a factory, our lab, and we do have the ability to supply electricity, we can now start researching things. So the first thing I want to research is kind of obvious, but automation. Let's research automation. I guess we didn't know that about that one yet. Go ahead and provide electricity. So the lab. So now you can see the lab is like working. It's like glowing. Like, yes, we are doing research.
Yeah, I get that, Janelle. I think that's very smart.
So.
Yep.
What was it? Not married is term. Disposition of building something in space that you care. Do whatever. Yeah, I think that is a very productive way of looking at this game and the way it presents itself.
Yeah, whatever cost to this ecosystem that what you will have left sitting there when you depart, that's stridently not of your concern. Seems like. Yeah, I mean, I identify that with a long sort of tradition of kind of current of ideology and practice that people like Fred Turner have written a bit about, and there's this kind of post. You can look before World War II, but the interesting chapters to me begin with World War II and after, where this kind of techno mastery combined with a kind of liberalism becomes a dominant disposition where to be an engineer is to be all the human you need to be. And it's striking to me how much it underwrites our technological atmosphere right now, especially obviously digitally networked technologies. Yeah, I'm really interested in a lot of similar questions, Janelle. Feel free to, stop my office hours sometime and we can chat about it.
It's funny, like right now I'm actually a little worried because I think I'm overproducing. And I'm worried that this might attract the enemies before, because I currently don't have like turrets researched, so I can't really build defenses. I have a gun I can shoot, I guess, but I don't want to. I don't know when they're gonna attack. Like, it's very easy in this game to like just walk back to your thing, and then it's like, oh, I guess everything's gone.
Yeah, there's that other element of contingency.
All right, so my goal right now is we're gonna try in this last 15 minutes. You can see how this game sucks up a lot of time. Like, I've been playing for a while and I have not accomplished very much yet. But my goal for right now, I think, is going to be to I want to make, so like with the labs, they don't just research on their own. You have to like fuel them with certain like chemicals. It's kind of weird, like. But in this case, like, to fuel to get a lot of this research done, I need an automation science pack. Now that's a clear video gamey kind of invention, right? And the science pack requires 1 copper plate and 1 iron gear wheel, and then you put those together, and then, as you can see, it does the work for it. So what we'll try in this last 15 minutes, try to automate it so that we have a factory that is doing the work, right? Of we're not doing anything, but it's getting those gear wheels and turning them into packs, and then moving those packs to the lab, and turning them into stuff. So the first thing that we're gonna want to do is actually, I just built a ton of conveyor belts, but I realized that what I actually need to build is I should probably just build a factory that builds conveyor belts. Because now that I have the assembling machine, that like speeds up the process quite a bit. So okay, so we have one factory here, so we're gonna place this factory here, and this is like a non-automative one, but we're gonna use this factory to make we're gonna have it make the wait, no, we don't need that right now. Conveyor belts, that's what we need. Conveyor belts. All right, so we're gonna need those. Oh, but we also need iron gears. So then we'll have a second factory right next to that factory that makes the iron gears, because we're gonna need a lot of those. And so then we'll add a bunch of these iron plates to it so that it's making them, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna build very quickly. And do we have an? Yeah. So an inserter that it runs on electricity this time, and that this inserter will take any iron gears that this factory makes and put them into the assembling machine that makes the conveyor belts.
Nice.
So now we've got this is like true automation to some degree, true, quote unquote. But yeah, where we've got, why does it stop? Did I run out of electricity? No, I don't think so. No, we still have electricity. So, all right, something's wrong here. One sec. Oh, this ran out of iron plates. An easy reason why that would happen. All right. And then... Oh, and this is full. Okay. So then we need to build another... All right, so the factory is not a suppository, right? It's not where things are meant to be.
Repository.
Yeah, shoot. So now...
You need a warehouse.
Yeah. So I need to quickly make one more inserter, which is like the claw arm that is like moving everything around, to then take it out of that last factory and put it into a box, so that way I have it. But
I hope you'll zoom in at some point if this stuff is actually animated on there.
Yeah, here. It's not really animated particularly compellingly, I would say.
It's a shame.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. Instead, the assembling machine, like the kind of mini factory, just kind of does its job, you know, kind of thanklessly, I suppose you could say, with little fanfare. Like, all right, that thing needs electricity, but that's pretty easy to provide. And then here we can put in make a wooden box, and then that will take all of our conveyor belts. So now we have this little factory. It's not like the ideal of the game, which is that like we have to feed these two machines, right? We have to put the iron plates into them in order for, you know what I mean, manually right now, which, you know, obviously is not ideal. But it is still the kind of idea, right? This makes the gears, this plus the plates makes the belts, and then the belts are placed in this chest for us to use and build elsewhere. All right. So now we go back to our broader goal of making these, making the automated science packs. One thing that's interesting is like some parts of this game are very obviously gamey, and the conveyor belts are one of those things. The conveyor belts just do their job. They do not require electricity, unlike a lot of other things in the game. Which is, I think, a little contrary to how you would imagine a conveyor belt working. So here what I'm doing is I'm building this factory, and this factory is the one that will actually make the automated science pack. And so we're gonna have to get electricity to it. You see I got like these kind of telephone poles right now, but I think later on you can get other ways of transferring electricity. And so yeah. And so on one side we need it to bring in the copper plates, and on the other side we're going to need it to bring in iron gears. So I'm going to go up to where our iron is produced. One sec, how many can... Let's go grab all these transporter belts that our other factories are making quick. 10 minutes. Can I automate this in 10 minutes? This is kind of a challenge now. This is a little speed runny, I suppose. This game is speedrun, which is kind of weird, but it's like speedrun to see how fast you can get off the planet, I guess.
Mm.
Oops. But yeah, chat as it. Speedrunning is always a possible mode, yeah. Here you can see we're trying to just bring these down to the other place. While we're doing this, we need to be building one more factory. Alright, and then back to the conveyor belts. Fortunately for us, it's very easy to lay down these kind of conveyor belt roads. Also, they work on you. You can like, I guess I could use them as a means of transportation, but it's so much slower than the normal way of walking. It's probably not particularly valuable. All right, so we'll have them laid down to here. And what I'm gonna have is I'll have a. We have one last factory that we need to kind of make here because. But we'll put it. I guess put it at the very end. Because we need iron gears, and so this factory, your job is we kind of tell the assembling machine like you make iron gears. That means when you have plates, you know, you make the gears, and then we're gonna connect those, and then we're going to build one more conveyor belt. Oh, actually, we need one more. Oh shoot, we need 2 more inserters. Do I have the materials? No, I don't have any iron plate. One sec. Let's quickly steal from the assembling machine that we just made.
You can do it. You can do it. You still got 7 minutes left.
Yeah, no, this is actually we're pretty close, I think, to having this done in a. I think it needs a little space. All right, and then one more inserter. All right. Well, we'll need more than one more inserter now that I think about it, but we're not gonna worry about that right now. All right, and this all needs electricity. Why doesn't it have? There we go. Okay, so you have electricity. Oh, these telephone poles are really poorly placed. There. And do I have enough to build one more pole? Yeah. All right. So now, all right, and now things are looking great. So now the raw resources are getting to the machine that makes those automated science packs. Now what we need to do is we need to build a couple more inserters, and have that inserter place it onto the conveyor belt, and then send it. Oh, we need more conveyor belts. Don't worry, that's why we have you guys. You guys built me 58 more. I love those conveyor belt machines. Thank you guys. And then we send it over to here. And then I just need to put one more inserter to insert from. Oh, it needs electricity. That's easy. There we go. And now we have it automated in a sense, though that's a little annoying. The conveyor belt is like too short, so it's not collecting the ones on the edge of the conveyor belt. Let's try to adjust that slightly. Or it's just all right. Those two are those are the backups. They just it's kind of funny when you look at this because basically it's like, oh no, it'll only let it hold 2 at a time. Okay, but as you can see, so let's recap our thing right now. Oh, though we absolutely need to fix this. We do have a problem here. Okay. All right, and then we'll add one more here. And then this just full 5 there. So we've got over here on the left, we have these copper miners who put their stuff directly into the we just finished mining the turrets, but anyways, who put their stuff into the stone furnaces, who then, who these inserters put those now refined copper plates onto the conveyor belt, which then ride all the way up here to put them into this assembling machine. Which, wait, why are you not getting, anyways, well, we'll get there in just a sec, but put them into this assembling machine, which then makes the copper plate portion of the automation science pack. Then this inserter puts the thing on the conveyor belt, and then the science packs get put over here, and then this inserter puts them into the lab, and then the lab does the research for us, and thus we have automated research. Imagine if it was this simple in real life. Unfortunately, it looks like way up here, yeah, we've run out of fuel, unfortunately, on some of our stuff, and that's why we're not getting any iron plates out. But that can be solved pretty quick. There we go. Now, yeah, that's going to be dropping them in, and we can even make the conveyor belt a little longer and add one more inserter so we get double the plates. We have probably a ton of coal here that we can use. Yeah. One of those things where it's funny because like the longer it takes you to like kind of figure everything out, it's kind of funny because that helps, like you then have more resources that you can draw upon, assuming that they've been working the whole time. So like sometimes, it's nice, like right now, like look at how much coal I have, like it's quite useful to have all that resource. All right, but so then
apparently from chat, if you press control, you can see what they're doing. What exactly does that mean?
All right. Oh yeah, Aaron 13 out. Control. I am pressing control, but I'm not seeing a difference.
You need to hover over a factory or something.
Alt?
Huh.
Oh, there we. Oh, I see what you mean. So like when I press Alt, you see that like it shows.
Oh yeah,
it
shows
that.
the link, right? Yeah.
And then maybe if I go over here, it'll show. Just this is a long run. Yeah, it shows that this is making the iron gears. It shows that this is making the things, and it shows that this needs that in order to do its research, right? It needs that particular kind of, that little potion, that little lab research thing. And so, and you can see that because our automation is not ideal, maybe, we have a huge backlog of these copper plates. It's clear. It's kind of one of the fun parts of the game is like part of the automated is it's the efficiency, right? So it's like noticing, oh, I have so many of these plates backed up, but I don't have these gears. So maybe I need to add another factory to make the gears to do this, or maybe I need to build another assembling machine to make more of these things. If I've got this thing can't make as many research packs as I'm able to produce with my raw research. Especially
with the conveyor belts and going from station to station. The strangest connection to me, it makes me think of Lemmings way back in the day.
Oh yeah, I think that's a good yeah. I love Janelle's I started doing this 20 minutes ago, but here's the zoomed out version of our automation. It's kind of neat. I don't know how well you guys can see it on Twitch, but on mine I can see like the little all of the stuff moving along the conveyor belts. It's kind of neat.
That's cool.
And so,
thanks so much for this.
That's our factory.
Really yeah, well done.
But in the last minute or so, is there anything we want to wrap up with? It looks like most people are just saying thanks very much. So I'm going to end the stream there. This is our triumphant moment. In 1 hour, we automated all research.
and we've extracted so much power from this natural environment.
Mm-hmm. And we managed to do it with a low enough environmental footprint to avoid the Zerg from coming and killing us. But I think that won't last for long. But you guys have a fantastic day, and next week, Lunch Zone, same time, and we got lots of other shows. I don't think there's any more this week, but catch Coffee Break on Mondays, catch Arena on Tuesdays, and catch Lunch Zone and Doctors and Dungeon Masters on Wednesdays. You guys have a great week. Bye.